Welcome to our next video, which looks at the use of local agreements within HE contracts. Local agreements allow you to put your own contracts on so that your members of staff will be able to look at the contracts just for your institution. This is a privilege to be able to do this, so you need to make sure that your local consortium has allowed you this privilege in the system to be able to add your local agreements. To log in, first of all put in your username and your password and then press login. If you have the privilege, up here will show a button, Add Local Agreement, and that's exactly where we're going to start today. Okay, so we literally work down the screen in order. First thing we're going to do is put in our agreement title. So we'll call this, there we go, Computer Consumables Test. And then you get to choose which status you'd like to have your agreement. Preparation means that you're still working on it and none of your users will be able to see it. Available means it's available to buy from and all of your users will be able to see it. Suspended means that it has been running but you've needed to suspend it for a particular reason for a period of time, and ended means that it's got to its end date and therefore has ended. So we'll leave ours as preparation. Now we go down to category, and in here, because ours is a computer consumables test, we'll put it into ICT and telecoms. Then it's asking for a main CPV code. We'll just put some dummy text in there. And then the start date, end date and potential extension date fields can all be used with a little calendar feature. So we can say on here that this is going to begin on the 1st of July and the end date. So at the moment, if we were to click in here now, it's setting it as July 2016. Now we can jump forward there by clicking on that top bar and then clicking again on the year, and you can see it brings up the years just to allow you to jump forwards. So we'll set this as 2018 and say that this one is going to end on the 1st of July 2018. Now, potential extension date isn't mandatory, so you don't need to put this in, but we'll put one in. We'll literally copy what it says here, paste it into the potential extension date, and we'll just change those last two digits to be 2020. Then the system needs an agreement manager from us, the person that's looking after this agreement who has created it. So this will be a list of all the users in your particular institution. So we'll just put one of our test ones in. Then the system's asking for a contract value from and to. Now, these aren't mandatory, but you can put it in that field if you'd like to. Then we get a choice of if you want to allow RFQs, requests for quotes. So if you don't want to allow them, change that default setting over to no, and it will make you put in text as to why this is not allowed on this agreement. So on our agreement, we'll say that it is allowed. You can then go in and put some keywords in. These can be anything you'd like. So we'll put in computer and accessories. You can just keep putting them in there and pressing enter after each one. Now, if you decide you want to get rid of one, you just click on the little X next to it and it gets rid of that keyword for you. Keywords just help find this agreement when people are searching. So we'll move down a little bit now, and we've got three fields to fill in: how to buy, keynotes and agreement scope. How to buy is mandatory, so you must put some text into these fields, whereas keynotes and agreement scope you can leave blank, but they are really useful for the user to be able to see much more about this agreement. Then at the bottom we have a choice. We can either link this to another agreement that exists within the system, so this could be another computer consumables agreement that your consortium arranges and you want to link to that one. Underneath that, we'll put this one as a draft, so we'll say yes to that. What that means is that you're still working on the system and therefore this agreement isn't ready to go live, and it also overrides any of the mandatory fields that are in the system. So if you haven't yet completed them, tick that box and it won't make you fill them in until you're ready. What it won't do is allow you to make this agreement live and available until you've selected no on the draft and you change the status at the top. Okay, let's save that. Right, so now this is the beginnings of our agreement, and you can see we've got all the information that we've just keyed in, and it tells us here who our agreement query contact is, and it'll tell you that your local agreement is being managed by your institution, so your institution name would show there. Now what you can see is it's not showing any suppliers, any lots or any contacts at the moment. So you get to choose now whether you want to add lots to it or whether it's a straight agreement that doesn't have lots. In our test agreement here, we're going to add some lots to it, so I'm going to press the Add Lot button that's now appeared at the top. And as you can see, it's brought forward all the dates from the original agreement. Now we can amend those in this lots from the agreement, or we can leave them exactly as they are. So I'm just going to call this Lot 1 consumables. I get the choice that I can put in additional keywords if I like. So I'll put one in there and we can add that lot on. Great, so this is my lot now. I'm actually in that lot and I can now start adding some suppliers to it. So that's what I'm going to do, is go into add suppliers. So in this list is every supplier that's in the HE contract system. You can decide how many entries you'd like to show, so we can change that to 50 lots, and you can see you can scroll through many more. We can touch the tab here and that will sort that category A to Z. You can do that on any of these categories, or you can go up to the top corner here and you can search for particular companies. So let's put in computer, and it's brought up any company with the word computer in it. So we'll go through and select a few of those, and we just scroll down and we do add suppliers. So that's now added those to the system, but as you can see, it's not yet showing any contacts for us because we need to now go in and select which contacts we would like from those suppliers. So now I'm going to do select contacts. So this has listed all those companies that I've just ticked and all the contacts that are available I can use. So I'm going to sort that A to Z on the name of the supplier, and I'm going to say, right, I want to use Christine, Diana. Go on to the next page and I can choose extra people I want, and then press select contacts. That will then refresh this screen and it'll add those contacts in for us. Now I can go back and do some more. There we go, it's refreshed now and add those on. If we'd like to add a supplier that isn't in the list, so it may be a new local supplier that you're using, then in there you can go into add suppliers, and instead of choosing from the list, you can just press add new supplier at the top. So this brings up a screen for us to fill in. The first place you want to go to is postcode. So click in the postcode and type in the postcode that you'd like to use, and then press find address. This goes away and searches all the companies based at that postcode. You click on the company and it puts in all their details for you. If any of those are incorrect, you can literally go in and just edit those so that everything is correct. Mandatory to put in a telephone number. And you can also put in their company number and a VAT number if you wish. So once you've done all that, you press save and link. So this then saves that supplier in the system and links it now to our agreement. But once again, it won't show us it in the list until we've got a contact available for it. So because we know this is a brand new supplier, we're going to do create new contact. So the create new contact screen comes up, and in here you pick the company that you've just entered and add in all the details that it's asking for, and then do create contact. Saves it in the system and it automatically adds it in for us there as that line. Now what you have got on here is a responsibility field. This is really useful to be able to tell people if it's a customer service contact, a sales contact, or a technical contact, and you can do that in the edit contact screen. Okay, the next thing we can do is we can add a document to the system. So we go into add document, and it allows us to choose on here which category we would like to put it in. And all these categories here are basically folders within the system where that document is best placed. So we'll say that this is a buyer's guide. There we go, we choose a name for the file. Then you get a choice of attachment type. It can either be a file, so an actual document, or it can be a link to a website. So we'll leave these ours as a file, and then we press browse, and this allows us to look on our computer and pick the file that we'd like to upload. The rest of the fields down here are for use if we want to archive that later on, so we don't need to touch those now. Then press add document, and that's now added that document for us in this documents tab, and you can see the buyer's guide section has now got this document in that we can literally click on to download. Okay, so I've now created a lot. I've added my suppliers, my contacts, and a document. I can now go back to the original agreement and I can add my second lot. So there's various ways we can do this. We can use the home button to go back and then look at my agreements on the home page, or we can use this here, which is called the breadcrumb trail. So it shows us that we're currently in lot 1 consumables. We can click back here and that takes us to the main agreement. So now on this main agreement page, you can see that it's now showing lots, and it's got the first lot showing there for us. So we're going to add an extra lot, and we'll call this one lot 2 computer supplies. Add that lot on, and again it's loaded that lot for us, so we can now continue to add our suppliers, create new contacts, or we can add documents here as well. We can also make it a favourite of ours by just pressing the favourite button, just like you've seen on previous agreements. Or if you want to go in and edit something that maybe you've made a typo, you can just press edit, and we can maybe put in that to make it computer suppliers. Edit lot will save that into the system, and that's now made that change for us. So that's as simple as it is to create a local agreement. We can go back to our home page now, and you can see at the bottom of the screen you've got My Agreements, and in My Agreements this is everything that you have created. So there's our one we've just created at the top there, computer consumables, and we can literally click on it to go back, and you can see all the information that you've just typed in. Anytime you want to edit it, click on the edit button, and that will take you back to that first original screen where you can change any of the details that you've got in the system.